We'll go a little bit further forward. Sorry about the camera being shaken, but it's and look at that one. Another swarm. I thought it was going to be higher, but the willow is actually bent down with the weight on it, which is a good thing. I might not even need my step ladders now. Right, we're all set up, 3 frames out. I've got a crown board there. I've got an old floor. It's wide open at the bottom because what I'm going to do is put some foam across when I come to move it. I've got the bees hanging up here, just about head height, which is good because that's level at the moment. And as you can see, they're nicely spread out. It's a little bit hollow inside, this swarm is, because they're on 2 separate branches. What I'll do is lower this down on top of there, quick jerk, drop the 3 frames like I did with the large swarm the other day, and hopefully they will stay in this hive, and I will relocate them in about an hour's time. It's going to be nearly impossible to see the queen on this swarm, and that's I'm not going to run them in. It's better just to drop them straight in the top, put a lid on, and that's it. They're looking somewhere else to go, and that they've even sort of started sniffing around this hive that I've just put down here. So the quicker I get it in here, the better it will be. So I think this bit of willow here, that's it. Lovely. You can right, the nicest thing about willow is that it bends, and look at that, right over the top. So basically what I'm going to do now, I'm sorry about all the leaves that you can't see, I'm trying to hold the branch and hold the camera at the same time, and that's the top. So I think that went well. There's a few bees started to fly up because obviously being sort of shaken like that. Push the frames to the middle. There's a few having a go at me, which is understandable. Always put the board on Cater Corner for all those newbies that follow me on YouTube. That's excellent. And I'll just leave the bees now to get on with it. There's hardly any up here. There's a few going back up here. Obviously they were knocked off and sort of flying. We'll have a look in about another 10 minutes. I'm just going to have a look into my other bees. I'll put that on the top. These are fanning like mad. Brilliant. Leave them. So there, a couple of little swarms just going up there. Hopefully they'll realise that, and hopefully the queen isn't on there, so they'll be all hanging up there again a little bit higher this time. So there you are. I can't believe that I'm having so many big swarms, but there again, I haven't been into my bees as often this year. Oh, it might need just squaring up at the back here. And hopefully the queen will like all those new frames, the bees will like them, and they'll start pulling them out tonight. This is a swarm I dropped in the other day. It's probably the last one on Facebook that I put up. Basically what I'm going to do now is transfer this into a larger hive, because it was a fairly large swarm. I expect most of these will be drawn out. As we go through it, we'll have a look. I can't imagine the queen will be laying, because all these bees will be banging as much nectar in here as possible. Right, I've got my super there with all partly drawn frames on. I've got my brood box with frames in. I'll take about 5 out the middle because there'll be 5 new frames in there to replace them. I've got the queen excluder there, and I've got a roof at the bottom. So basically what I'm going to do now is just go into this and transfer, where did I put the floor? Must be around here somewhere. I had a floor. Right, I'll have to go get a floor first. Right, I've got the floor now. This is a double floor. So I've obviously used it to condense the bees and put one on top of the other. So I'll use a clean side and just put it on the where the bees are. I'll move these to one side, and then I'll have to be as quick as possible. Right, now we're going to build the other hive. I just dropped that hive down at the side of where this one's going to go. So we start building up to the floor. Clean side, as I said. Entrance at the front. There we are. It's going to be, I think it's going to be this entrance. New brood box, and we're going to take 4 out straight away. There's a gap. Drop them on top of that hive, and then we're going to have a quick look in here. These bees are already started to look at this hive, and because it's in the place where this small hive was, so hopefully there'll be no trouble at all by doing what I'm doing. As you can see, the bees are already sort of cramped for space. Just make sure the queen isn't on here. What I'm going to do is just shake these in. I'll put that one side and pop that the other. Okay, and this is what the swarm has done so far. So basically we could gently ease the frames apart. They haven't glued them yet, and we'll just pull this one out. And this is where things start to go wrong, because these aren't Hoffman frames, and you can see that they've drawn out quite a bit there already. Now hopefully this isn't bad, since this was what, the 30th of May or the 29th of May, and it's about the 2nd of June now, so they're doing well. Give myself a little bit more space. With just doing this, it stops the bees. They can always run into the dark if they want to. You can see all the bees are clustered to the side as well, because obviously they're still in the swarm mode. That gives you a... They are making wax and pulling all this out. And if I'm not very lucky today, the queen will still be in that box, so I'm going to have to just drop these. And to cap it all, it's just started to rain, so I've got to work fairly fast now. All I'm going to do is take this box now and tip all these bees into the top. I'm sorry I couldn't show you that. I've just got stung. I just crushed a bee in my hand. So all these bees now are diving into the dark, and hopefully they'll stay in this hive. I'm going to just put a little bit of smoke on and send them down. There's a few in the box. I didn't see the queen in there, but hopefully these are going to, once these are down, I'll give it a quick tap and I'll put them in the super. So let's get some smoke. A little bit of smoke there just helps them, the bees just make their mind up that they're going to go down here, they're going to run off here as well. That's brilliant. It's made a little bit more room so I can just tap those others in. So I'll just tap those others in. It's not satisfactory having Hoffman and normal frames without clips on, but what I'll do is move them over to one side later on, but I want them to be as near as the entrance as possible so they can defend it. So another job done. I'll put the queen excluder on, put the drawn combs on, put a crown board on, shut it up, and hopefully they'll get me quite a bit of honey. Right, I'm setting up the new hive next to this hive here. It's got a bad roof. I'm badly needing some roofs, but at the moment they'll just have to do. I'm going to drop the new hive, the swarm that we got today, on there. It is back here. There it is. The bees have settled down quite well. They've come off this tree, those ones that were still looking around thinking the swarm was up there. So now they're all back into the box, and hopefully this will settle down. I'll leave it a couple of days and then I'll put the super on it, but at the moment I'm going to move it before they get accustomed to this site and want to be here, because there's about 5 meters I would have thought, or maybe even 6 to where the new site's going to be. So I want to move them as quick as possible while they're still looking around, and these bees will find where I've just put it. It's not too far because they are trying to locate this here now. Right.